name is Kathy, and today I will be discussing the moon in Scorpio. But before I do this, I wanted to let you know that because I have a great many videos now on many different topics, that I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. The moon in Scorpio produces a complex and extreme personality. These people keep their emotions deeply repressed and so can have a difficult time in loving others. Also, there is a deeply suspicious and untrusting aspect to these people's makeup that makes emotional control a major component of their personalities. The moon in Scorpio has a capacity to feel much more deeply and intensely than any other lunar sign, and because of this, it makes them vulnerable, which is something that this moon placement hates to be. For these people to be confronted with a situation of betrayal or abandonment can make them feel like they are literally dying because of the repressed and intense emotions that they feel. Because of these intense emotions, the moon in Scorpio person will at some point decide to kill off their emotional responses altogether. These people see themselves as survivors, as warriors in a world of hostile forces that are out to get them. This produces a highly suspicious nature that is ever on the lookout for the next betrayal. Trust is a serious problem for these people. And so they work harder and harder with each passing year to control themselves from within, so that the enemies that they see all around them do not gain any emotional leverage with which to attempt to control them. You will often find moon and Scorpio people sublimating their strong emotional desires through focusing intensely on career drives and sometimes through the use of drugs and alcohol. On the surface, nothing ever seems to get them down, and many people look up to the moon and Scorpio person for their strength and courage in the face of terrible situations. Other less intuitive people may think of these people as cold and unfeeling, when nothing could be further from the truth. This heavy personal control aspect of the moon in Scorpio person can lead to a long and very unhappy life if the trust issues that produce it are not confronted and dealt with. This moon position is famous for its depressions and extreme mood swings, which come from the attempt to completely deny that these extreme feelings exist within them. Anger is a serious problem area for these people. Another one is sexual issues. Moon in Scorpio feels so intensely and passionately, and yet there is this unconscious fear of trusting and succumbing to another human being. So, unless the moon in Scorpio person is involved in a secure love relationship, they will attempt to sublimate their sexuality in other, safer ways. Moon in Scorpio people can funnel the intensity of their powerful emotional natures into an all-consuming devotion to an artistic endeavor or a power-oriented career. Sometimes these people will exude a powerful seductiveness that promises a lot but seldom leads anywhere, all in the name of power over others. For the moon in Scorpio person to learn to deeply trust another in a loving relationship is the single most challenging life experience that they face. The root of the trust issues lie in the fear of abandonment, which ultimately feels like a kind of death for them. So they settle for control themes, and so end up having a very difficult time finding happiness in love. In extremely negative moon and Scorpio types, you will find emotional sadism to be present. It is also the ability to control the total pain and pleasure of another person that is the appeal here. And in the extremely negative Moon in Scorpio person, this may be the only way they can feel safe enough to even have a relationship with another person. An extremely negative Moon in Scorpio person can be hopelessly corrupt and devoid of any moral scruples, and can be a sexual degenerate. Addictions to drugs and alcohol can make them impossible to live with, and they are capable of betraying their best friends to achieve their ends. Now, the positive expression of the Moon in Scorpio person is another matter. These people have the most powerful of personalities and have the capacity for limitless self-mastery. The positive expression of the Moon in Scorpio person is shrewd, insightful, intuitive, psychic, and emotionally complex. They have a profound compassion for all of humankind and a deep sense of justice and a very strong spiritual basis for their being. These people have the capacity to sacrifice themselves totally to a goal or a cause, or to another human being. There is a downside, though. Because of all this self-contained control, when they have to face a problem, they find that they are always alone with it. This is because they are both secretive and fiercely independent by nature, and prefer to rely on their own intuition than on anyone else's advice. Nothing will stop these people from completing a task once they have made their minds up that it must be done. There is an elemental stubbornness about this moon placement that produces this, and I do mean nothing will stop them, including their own suffering if need be. They are driven, dedicated, conscientious, and highly critical of themselves and others in these matters. Few accomplishments in this life will deeply satisfy the Moon in Scorpio person, because their minds are forever tearing things, ideas, and people apart, only to put them together again in a new way. The intensely questioning and analytical minds want to understand the meaning of every experience and the motivation of every individual they come across. They tend towards perfectionism, and unfortunately, they rarely find it, and yet they will keep on seeking and hoping for this perfection. The Moon in Scorpio person demands a lot from themselves and from the people they allow to get close to them. These people are very selective about whom they allow to get close to them, and when their faith in another person is betrayed, they have no problem simply cutting them out of their lives forever with no second chances. What drives the Moon in Scorpio person is to find a love relationship that has the rapport and closeness that only comes with a soulmate connection. As this is a very rare thing to find, the Moon in Scorpio person is awfully acutely disappointed in their love life. It is, of course, doesn't help the situation because these people have an extremely difficult time opening up and revealing anything about themselves to another in the first place. Once in love, the Moon in Scorpio person can be intensely jealous and, at the same time, immensely uncomfortable with their own jealousy. They will go to any length not to show these jealous feelings, and will work very hard to deny to themselves that they have these jealous feelings in the first place. Because the Moon in Scorpio person feels this strong need to hide their feelings, and definitely hide their more negative feelings, people, as a result, will often find them to be both inscrutable and impossible to understand. These people have the habit of revealing very little about themselves until they have known and tested a new person out very well. Complete strangers will blurt out their entire life story to these people because of the Moon in Scorpio's natural abilities in this area. These people have an attention span and an ability to concentrate that is unparalleled, especially when they are testing out a new person in their lives. Moon in Scorpio people have a phenomenal memory. Nothing from childhood is ever forgotten. This may seem like a good thing, but if the childhood was bad, The Moon in Scorpio person will carry many emotional scars from the experience. Life is never easy for Moon in Scorpio people. Their lives are filled with seemingly impossible challenges that they will surmount through persistent application of their strong wills. Many good things will come to the Moon in Scorpio person, and yet it is a strange quirk of fate that so much will also be taken away from them. In business settings, the Moon in Scorpio person will work best in a quiet office. If they decide to go into a partnership with another, they will eventually end up buying out their partners or somehow gaining control of the entire business in some other fashion. The Moon in Scorpio person is an enigma to most people, but at the same time, the mystery of it all makes them very intriguing. However, those that really know them love them with all of their hearts, because the Moon in Scorpio person possesses the capacity for the deepest sense of emotional commitment possible. Others can feel the depth of their love, even though they don't talk about it much. Well, I have a great many videos now on many different topics, and so I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Well, that's it for now. To stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this free YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button right below this video. Take care.